Well, I think we're live. Hello, 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 hello. Um, I am Lakia, Dr. Lakia Bailey, and I am sharing this really quickly so that I can put it on my page as well, which I think I'm doing now. All right. Hey there, everyone. I am going to be taking a couple of minutes to explain the docket. If you are a partner of the Sickle Cell Consortium, this is incredibly important for you. But even if you are not and you want to put something on the docket, I want to explain what that is, how it works, why it's important. So, first off, as you all, I think, are mostly aware, the Sickle Cell Consortium was designed a little bit like the United Nations. I've got my tiny person right here, so you might hear her chime in. If she gets upset, I'll probably bring her onto the video. So I think most of you are aware that the Sickle Cell Consortium is a collaborative designed a little bit like the United Nations in theory, so that we can bring together many organizations for sickle cell throughout the country and now throughout the world, as well as independent patient caregiver leaders, opinion leaders, advocates, those that are active in this space. And our goal is what we've always done is bring our community together so that we can create projects, priorities, initiatives. We can figure out what are the problems, needs, and gaps in the sickle cell community, and then figure out how we're going to collectively address this. Now, the main way in which we do this is through the docket. So if you are a partner with us, but you joined new in 2020 or 2021, then you have never been part of the docket. We did not. This is our first time opening the full docket since 2019. 2018 was the last time we did the General Assembly docket, and 2019 was the last time we did the business meeting docket. All right, I've said that word a lot of times, docket. What am I talking about? The docket is basically a Google form that we open up once a year, and there's two sides to it. So the consortium, we form what's known as the General Assembly. All of our partners, all of the different community-based organizations, the foundations, the different groups that come together, as well as our community partners and our patient and caregiver leaders, collectively all come together to form what is known as the General Assembly, long name, the General Assembly of Patients, Caregivers, and CBOs. It is this General Assembly that's the decision-making body of the consortium. So what does that mean? It's this group that serves on either one of 10 infrastructure committees that's all about the running of the actual organization. And we have a business meeting that's all about making changes and working on the actual business of running the consortium. But then there's the other side. That's the side where patients and caregivers all collectively decide what are the projects, what are the priorities, what is it that we as a collective sickle cell community want to work on. That is where the docket comes in. The docket is an opportunity to tell the consortium partners, tell the team, tell the staff, tell our volunteers, here's what I think is important that we should be working on in this space. So I mentioned there's two sides to the docket. The business meeting side, only partnered organizations and CBOs, IPCAs can write and put something on the business meeting. But then there's the General Assembly side. That side is open to the entire community. All right, so what does it look like? The docket, and I think that we're going to share a little bit about this. There is a link. The docket opened yesterday and it remains open until the 15th. And when I say the docket is open, it means it is now ready that you can put items on it. Anyone can. So for partners, the first thing that you'll want to do when you go onto the docket, you will click the link and it will say, it'll ask you, are you a partner? If your answer is yes, then you then have the option to place an item on the business meeting side or the General Assembly side. You select which side you're placing your item on. You title it. So for example, you might say, I think the consortium needs to work on providing a series of classes to teach us all how to use social media to improve healthcare outcomes. That is an actual item that was placed on the docket a few years ago. You title it, you say why you think that's important, why you think we need to do it, and then there's a little landscape analysis, which is basically, is anyone else in the community already doing it to your knowledge? As far as you're aware, is this already happening? So you will complete that bit and then you click submit. And then you can submit something else. And then you can submit something else. And then you can submit something else. So let's go all the way back up to the top here. This is the docket. The link to the docket will be put in the chat, and I will update to place it on the title of this slide. All right, here is the docket. Anyone can place on the General Assembly side. We are now convening the 6th seated partners of the General Assembly of the Sickle Cell Community Consortium. During the Leadership Summit, which starts April 28th, 29th, and 30th, and then May 1st is our business meeting, the General Assembly will convene. We will convene all of the partners of the consortium, and on Friday afternoon, we will then review all things that have been placed on the docket and form our top 3 priorities. So, in general, I'll come back to this actual form in a moment. In general, what is going on is this is your opportunity to say, this is something I see in the community. We need to put more focus on mental health. We need to have some kind of way to help everyone understand how to use social media to improve healthcare outcomes. These are things that have been placed on the docket in the past. We want to create an anthology for sickle cell disease. All of these items are then placed on the docket. And then during the General Assembly meeting, which is open to the public, all of the partners and everyone that's placed anything on the docket has an opportunity to present. When the docket closes, we will go through everything on the docket. We will combine things that are very similar, and we will send out a document to all of the partners to tell them these are all the things that the sickle cell community in general has placed on our docket that they would like us to address for the next 2 years. All of those things get placed on the docket, and we then go through the process of addressing them. All right, now I'll show you in a moment the details, but in general, items go on the docket. The docket opened yesterday. It closes on the 15th. Now, if you place something on the docket, you have to be present to present it at the Leadership Summit. It is virtual this year, so that just means you need to register and be present on that Friday when we go through the docket. So if you are a partner, the General Assembly is the only mandated meeting that we ask all partners to prioritize and plan to attend. When we were in person, we would book you all flights, cover the hotel room, and bring us all together. In virtual, it's free for partners. It is not free for general attendees. You will come virtually and we will have our meeting. So if you put something on the docket, either as a partner or a general attendee, you must be present to present your item. If you are not planning to be there as a general attendee, but you won't be there, you can reach out to a partner and ask them to present it for you. We then go through the items on the docket. We allow each person to present. We open the floor for comments. People make comments, suggestions. We talk about it. There's a allotted amount of time that we're able to have this discussion on this docket item, and then we move to the next. We will go through each item. You're encouraged to take notes. We will be taking notes. And at the end of the closing of the General Assembly 1, it's divided into two parts, General Assembly 1 and General Assembly 2. At the end of General Assembly 1, all items placed on the docket then go up for vote by the partners of the Sickle Cell Consortium. All votes are weighted equally. So it doesn't matter if the partner is a small CBO that is mostly ran online or a large organization that has federal funding. It wasn't an independent patients and caregivers. Your vote also weighs equally to the partners. And you will then vote on the top three. These are the three items that I think are the most important that we need to address for 2022 and 2023. The docket will open again in 2024 for us to do it again. So it opens every even year, which is why we haven't had the full docket since 2018, because 2020, the pandemic hit and we didn't have a full meeting. And so it's opening again for the first time in a while. The business meeting docket hasn't been open since 2019, and the full General Assembly docket since 2018. You will place your items on there, then you will vote your top three. You will only get 3 votes. You vote for the 3 you think are the most important. We will collate those votes and send it to everyone to let you know, here are the top things that was voted on. The next part, General Assembly 2, is where we then take those 3 only and begin writing out and creating how we're going to execute a solution to that problem, that need, that gap that's been identified by our community. Normally, we would do these in person on first day and then the second day, part 1 and part 2 of the General Assembly. Since we're virtual, we're going to separate them by Fridays. The Friday at the Leadership Summit is part 1, where we will discuss all items of the docket. And the following Friday is our first Friday partner meeting, May 4th. Let me check really quickly. It's the first Friday in May, May 6th. That is when we will have part 2 of the General Assembly, where we will outline solutions to the projects, to the problems, needs, and gaps, to the top 3 priorities. This is the one time where our partner meeting will be open for people to watch and have some comments, because we will be doing part 2 of the General Assembly. Okay, so I've said a lot in that moment. I'm talking about the docket. I'm explaining what the docket is, how it works, and why we do it. We do this because every project, every problem, every initiative, every platform, everything that we do at the consortium must first come from patients and caregivers. Patients and caregivers must prioritize it by saying it is important to them. And they do that by voting at the end of the docket 1. And then we create solutions for them. And that's how everything that we end up doing is directly from the community. A partner or a patient, a partnered patient or caregiver or an organization is then the project manager. They sit at the center of this project, and then the consortium works to gather the resources and everything that's needed to help execute it. And then the community who has identified an issue now has what they need to address that issue. And so that's how that works. It's how all of our projects, all of our platforms, all of our initiatives have always worked. Sometimes they come directly from the docket. The majority of them do. Occasionally, something comes out just of the community, people talking, saying, we need this. Who can help us get this? And the consortium will say, we can do this. Let's put a project together. Let's make it happen. So majority of the things you see us do came out of the docket. Occasionally, like our publications, A Guide to Living with Sickle Cell, that came organically from the community. And it started with a post. An individual in the sickle cell community commented how every time she went to the doctor, she never saw publications for sickle cell. She saw them for every other disease, but no brochures. So a project manager, organizations, people came together. The project manager of that was Sickle Cell 101, Cassandra Trimnell. different partners that came together, including Bold Lips for Sickle Cell, and over 200 patients and caregivers helped write that first publication. Since then, we've done 6 or 7 publications. And that whole initiative came directly, organically from the community. It wasn't on the docket. Most of what we do comes from the docket. So the docket's open. Let's pull up the docket and review what it looks like to put something on there. Here it comes. This is the docket. We will put the link here. Now, as a reminder, if you place something on the docket, you do have to be present at the Leadership Summit in order to present it, or you must have a partner agree to present it for you. Now, here are the instructions. We ask you to read them carefully. This is the gathering of the 6th General Assembly, the 6th seated members. Oops, come on, baby. Of the 6th seated members of the General Assembly of the Sickle Cell Consortium. They will gather at the end of this month. We do many things at our Leadership Summit. We provide classes and sessions, education, workshops, and training. We give updates on what's going on, the state of legislation, the state of health, the state of medical research, the state of clinical trials, and things like that. And then we have our General Assembly and our business meeting. All right. So here we are with putting things on the docket for the General Assembly. 2 sides of the docket, business meeting and General Assembly. Partners have access to both sides of the docket. Non-partners, you can only access the General Assembly side. So you will add to both, either of those. If you're a partner, you must be present to present it. And then you'll see here, you can use this form to add items to be discussed or debated during the business meeting. So that's proposals for changes to the amendments, addendums. You can talk about rules of procedure, different things you think should change. So, for example, it used to be that CBOs had to re-credential annually. That was placed on the docket. It was changed, and CBOs now re-credential every 5 years. Anything you want to changing the actual infrastructure of the consortium for partners only, that can be placed on the business meeting side. Then we get to the General Assembly side. Everyone can place on there. If your docket item is similar to something someone else has placed, whoever placed it first will be the one that is called upon first to present it. And then it will open to the others that put it on the docket to give their comments. And then it will open to the floor for discussion. There is a limited amount of time for each docket item. We then open to the floor. We will be taking notes. We follow the Robert's Rules of Order, and we move through our docket items until we come to the end of all dockets, and then it opens for a vote. So if you'll scroll on down for me. So here is how you do it. You're going to put in your email, and then you're going to answer, scroll on down a bit right here at the bottom of the docket, if you're a partner or not. If you answer yes, it'll take you to being able to add things. Scroll on down for me, Sharonda. If you could open the whole thing, or you could just click next. Now, if you're a partner, you're going to say yes, you're going to add an item to the business or general. Click general for me, Sharonda. If you say business, it'll take you to that part. Everyone else, you won't get that option. It'll take you directly to general. Okay, go ahead to the next, please. The next part, you will place in the subject heading. So you have to give a title or a subject heading to whatever you're placing on the docket. So you can say mental health for men. So that was actually put on the docket a couple of years ago. It was one of the top 3 priorities, and it's now why we now have an entire mental health and wellness initiative. It's why we have a track at our conventions. Whatever it is, you place it in there. Next, it's going to ask you to briefly describe your docket item. So, for example, if I had said mental health awareness, destigmatization of mental health, well, then my next bit might be, I might say that I feel that Many of us in the sickle cell community experience depression and anxiety, but very few of us seek treatment. I feel that this lack of awareness, access to proper mental health care, and the negative attitudes regarding mental health is something that we need to address collectively. Here is some information about why I think this is important. Next question, you will be asked, how did you identify this topic as a community need, problem, or gap? And you'll answer, well, from observation or from conversations that I've had in our support group, or we did a smaller project to this in my state, but I think it needs to be national. This is what we learned. Whatever is your rationale for why, how you identified this, you'll give us that information. Next, you'll say, well, why is this something that should be addressed by the collective? And you'll give an answer to that. That collectively, if we address this nationally, we can create better change and awareness for more people. Or you'll say that although that it's already been done in smaller groups, there's no national focus, or whatever is the reason for why this needs to be a top priority for all of us, all of our partners for the next 2 years. Finally, don't be intimidated by this bit. Landscape research. I'm not asking for a doctoral thesis, outlines, but what we do need is simply to know, is this already being done? We need you to Google it. We need you to put some information here. If this is already being done in general or in the sickle cell space, tell us about it. Is there room there for us to collaborate with those already doing this work? Or is this not being addressed at all and we're starting at ground zero? If it's being done, but to your knowledge, this has only been done in autism awareness, in breast cancer, in cystic fibrosis, but we don't have anything similar to this in sickle cell. Give us that information. What does the landscape of this look like? And then you go to next. And it goes just to submit next. So I don't know if it's going to let you, because we're not in the edit, but in the actual form. But the next part, if you put everything in, it's just going to ask you if you're representing an organization. You type the name of that organization. If not, you can type in that you're an independent patient caregiver advocate, or that you're not a partner at all. It's just going to ask, and you put that in. So partners, you are asked to place the name of the org you represent, or say you're an IPCA. And if you are not a partner, then just say, I am not a partner. You'll put your full name in, you'll give us that information, and then you will click submit. And that is how you place something on the docket. Now, you will, like I mentioned before, need to be present. Registration for the Leadership Summit is now open. Partners, you should have gotten an email yesterday with the link to the docket, guidance documents. You may or may not have gotten the guidance documents yet. We'll send that this week. And you, in your email, you also got the link to this docket. If you're not a partner, then we will be posting registration link and the docket links in these chats on the Sickle Cell Consortium Facebook page. It'll go out in our newsletter and inside of our emails, and you can reach out to us directly. So looks like tinyurl.com/SC3docket22. You can go to that link, place items on the docket. If you place something on the docket, but you nor a representative are present at the General Assembly, it will not be discussed and will be removed from the docket, and you will have an opportunity to place it back on the docket next time it opens. So it is very important that you or representative be present to present your docket item. That's the docket. We do it because everything at the consortium has to come directly from the community. That is in our bylaws. We don't go into any project. Even our events, the Caregiver Summit, which was introduced last year, repeated this year, came directly from caregivers, them telling us, I want this. You need to do this. You need to offer this for us. I don't remember how many caregivers attended, but it was a good number of caregivers that then put the meeting together and attended it, but it came directly from the community. Everything we do has to come from you. And this is the first time the docket's been open in a while. We've been working on previous docket items, a few things that came organically from the community, but this is the chance to formally place an item on the docket that you want to be a priority for the Sickle Cell Community Consortium and our collection of partners. I need to double check, but I believe we have 40 some community-based organizations in the US. There's quite a few outside of the US now. I think there's 3 in Canada, several on the continent of Africa, several throughout Europe. There's just a bunch of partners outside of the US now, or are working towards becoming international partners. Predominantly everyone is inside the US and in Canada currently, the bulk of the partner groups. And then there's an equal number of IPCAs to CBOs. So we will have 40 some IPCAs as well. I think that number is probably going to get a little bit closer to 50 so that the votes are also weighted equally and we can identify and then get to work on addressing problems, needs, and gaps as seen by the community. If you know me, if you've ever heard me talk, you might have heard me talk about how helplessness is learned. And when you grow up with chronic illness, we're often told we can't, don't do that, have a seat, sit down, you shouldn't do that. Helplessness is learned. At the consortium, we believe very strongly that if it can be learned, it can be unlearned. And if we see problems, needs, and gaps, we have the strength, the ability, and the collective knowledge to address those problems, needs, and gaps. That's why my entire staff either has sickle cell or is raising someone or loves someone with sickle cell, a spouse, a child. And it's why our volunteers, that everyone in the community, we work together to figure out what we want to fix or change and then collectively do it. So that's the docket. I hope I've answered some generalized questions. We'll be sending a link to this to partners so you can review this later. It will remain live on here. And reach out if you have any questions. If you tried to partner, you believe you partnered, but you did not get an email to attend last Friday's partner meeting, it means that your partnership didn't go through. We had a lot of technical issues, and we're actually going to be scrapping our entire website, putting up a pop-up letting you know that that is no longer active and the new website is coming soon. We're just going to start again to get brand new technology built. So if you tried to partner by the deadline and it didn't go through, you can go ahead and do it now, but we need you to do it ASAP so that you can get your partner packages in time for the Leadership Summit. You can get your code, you can register, all of that. If you are not a partner and not interested in being a partner, but you do want to place something on the docket, yes, you can absolutely do that. Go ahead and place it on the docket by going to the link on the screen and then register and be present, or ask a partner to present it as your representative for you at the General Assembly meeting. The Leadership Summit starts the 28th. On the 27th, we're going to have a networking event. It starts officially on the 28th, and on the 29th, we will be doing General Assembly Part 1, where we will outline all the items on the docket. Reach out if you have questions. Partnership, you can reach out to credentialing at sicklecellconsortium.org. Dominique Goodson will answer your questions there. Partners, if you have concerns, reach out to your partner communication liaison, who is Miss Maria Rivera at mrivera@sicklecellconsortium.org. And anyone else, reach out to any of our staff for questions, comments. If you have some thoughts, you just need to understand a little bit better, and we're here to answer those questions. All right, that's it. We will be leaving this up for those of you that wants to ask additional questions at a later time or want to review this later. Thank you so much, and I hope everyone have a lovely day. Bye.